If you need motivation, yeah, to get through the day, just tune in, cause we'll make a way. Positivity. So if you need empowerment to make a change, yeah, start with today, and tune into Pancake Monday, Pancake Monday, with Pastor OJS, OJS, oh yes, oh yes. Pancake Monday, Pancake Monday, with Pastor OJS, OJS, oh yes. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, welcome to a funky edition of Man Cave Monday. Of course, we are in season 2, and I'm just so excited for you all's support and how you have really helped to elevate this platform. And I am honored and excited tonight to welcome a brother and a friend. He is world renowned in so many different eras of music throughout the decades. He is my friend. Welcome, Mr. George Clinton, the Funk Doctor, to the Man Cave.
Hey man, before we get started,
yes, sir.
What that funky music you just played?
Man, that's the Man Cave official intro there. Buddy of mine up in Cleveland did that for me, and it has been a hit, even with that.
That is so funky and sweet. I'm waiting on a gospel tune.
Brother, we are gonna talk through all of that because you got roots. Thank you.
It really is nice. I like that.
Thank you for joining me. You are a legend. I'm so honored to even know you for the time that I have, and I'm gonna tell the people the story. And even as y'all are coming in, make sure that you all share this page, share this interview, even as it's happening right now. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And that information is on screen as well. I am here with the Funk Doctor, the man himself, Mr. George Clinton. And I'm going to tell you how we connected in the first place. So we're in church one Sunday, and, we do what we do every Sunday, and the Spirit is moving. And so, of course, we extend the invitation. We open the doors of the church. And that particular Sunday, it had to be, 25, 30 people may have joined. And so we, take everybody out to the other space or whatever so we can greet them. And so one of my ushers at the end of service runs up to me. Shouts out to Sister Jackie Dempsey. She runs up to me. She's like, "Pastor, do you know who that was?" I was like, "No, 25, 30 people. Like, who was that?" She said, "That was George Clinton that joined." I said, "Like P-Funk George Clinton?" Because in my mind, I'm picturing the hair, the shades, the whole George Clinton swag, because that's the George that I remember even from my childhood. And she was like, "No, he is here, and he joined." So I said, "All right, let me make sure that I do what I got to do." And I go and speak. And from there, we've been tight ever since. And come to find out, you got roots in Jersey.
Yeah, that was gonna be my part of the story.
Let's go back there. Take me there.
When we start talking, I think it came up. I mentioned Snooky because I heard you say something about Abyssinia.
Abyssinian Baptist Church in Newark.
I had a barbershop right around the corner from Abyssinia on Prince Street in Springfield Avenue. Wow. So I knew Abyssinia very well. I knew the Gospel Clef very well. They rehearsed at my barbershop. So we took it from there.
Mm-hmm.
And you bet.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. Somebody called him. Yeah, we took it from there and started reminiscing I started telling you about.
Yeah.
And then that's when I found out it was your father that was the pastor there.
Yep.
When
and when Snooky was
there.
the minister of music there, played organ, and I remember him as a young boy growing up in Abyssinia that he was the guy. And music and gospel music all through Newark, New Jersey. Man, you were on that scene.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So that was my beginning of my doo-wop era of singing. You know, I was like 19 when I knew him. So we were just starting Parliament.
Yeah.
So that was a matter of fact. We recorded Father Open Our Eyes. You know, about 10 years later. That's how much of an impression that era had on me.
Yeah.
We did it as Punkadelic, which was our psychedelic group. But we did the gospel song, Father Open Our Eyes, Funkadelic style. So here we is in Tallahassee.
I had no idea that you guys were here. And shouts out, of course, to your lovely wife, Carline. And,
she's here watching over me.
Yeah, she's an angel, and we absolutely love her. My wife and I love her, as well. And to see, how you guys have related to one another and how y'all have just taken that thing to another level. It's amazing.
She's my energy. That's my energy that gave me a whole nother reason to start all over again.
Yeah.
In this existence. So I'm like a kid out here doing it for the first time with the art and the music. Even though the pandemic got us all tied down, we lost people and people getting sick.
Yeah.
I got the inspiration from painting just to have something to do that kept me motivated. That I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like I'm on top of this 2021. I'm ready to do what it's going to take to get all out of here. Let's do it.
Love it. I love it. And what I like about it is, you found your roots and your love for music actually came out of the gospel movement. It came from the church and that quartet style and that, whole deep gospel, funk, really, because you would know this even more so than me when it came to people like Mahalia and, those other groups. She was criticized in her day for being a little too, I'm gonna say funky because she had a twist.
That's what it was. I mean, I can hear her voice and smell bacon right now. Like on Sunday morning or any morning.
Yeah.
My father, because that was his favorite, Mahalia Jackson, and she did it to, like, I would relate to say what a Sly Stone would do, that kind of effect. The effect he had on us, in the 70s.
Yeah.
She had that kind of effect on me as a kid, like you said, her. I remember when Mavis Staples was like 13.
Staple singers, oh my God.
She had that same tone on her voice, that raspy thing.
Yeah.
And Mahalia, though, her and Sam Cooke was like the epitome.
Man. We
touched the hem of his garment. I mean, I thought that, he was it.
Yeah, we've had some great acts come through the church. And I believe, and well, I'm going to say they came through the church. They came from the church. And
from the church.
The church, I think in those days wasn't really ready for the kind of energy that they brought. Because, for a lot of years, after Snooky left, like Abyssinian didn't have drums for a long time. To have a guitar and a bass in church was considered, for the Baptist folks was kind of taboo. So they're just getting into that instrumentation in the band. And I know you love the church band as well.
I mean, right now, when I go to Houston, Texas, all of the musicians there, is in the church. I mean, especially the serious ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
The serious ones, I mean, and they're just like, when I go there, I get in trouble because all the band come runs out to see me. They be thinking about what I've been playing, and I'm coming there to hear what they do. Now I'm like, oh my, this is it.
This is it.
Everybody, every church, I go from church to church. My wife had me in the car, and you can hear them on the radio, and we end up over at that church. And they be tearing it up. I mean, with full band.
Yeah.
From jazz but gospel, all of it gospel. Kim Burrell is my girl.
Oh man, love her voice. She got riffs and runs for days, man. Oh my God, she's killing. So you have influenced generations of musicians. I grew up, of course, in the 80s and 90s. And so the rap music that I grew up listening to, the Dre's, the Snoops, Tupac, I mean, everybody moving forward. Like Tupac and Biggie died my senior year of high school. So that was a major impact. But to hear all of that samples and that literally thousands of samples, hundreds of thousands of samples, that's all you. That's all you.
I mean, you say Tupac. When they was in Digital Underground,
the Humpty Dance.
When they were doing Humpty Hump, we not only were they sampling, we were actually doing stuff in the studio together.
Wow.
They came to Detroit, as a band. They were a band, and then started rapping. They was a band singing, and then they started rapping. So I watched Tupac come from a dancer into Digital Underground, then into his own thing.
Yeah.
And I did stuff with him, like All Eyes on Me.
Right.
I did that one with Dre for him. I did it for Snoop.
Uh-huh.
But they were switching stuff around so much over that studio. I just go in there with Dre and just do everything, because they had all the samples in the world.
Yeah.
And myself, and I did a guy called Roger Zapp.
Roger and Zapp, of course.
More Bounce to the House. I did that, so that was one of their favorite songs too.
Yeah.
So I ended up over there doing a lot of stuff with Dre, Snoop, Cube.
The Chronic was
on the New York Coast, same thing.
Yeah, the Chronic was classic. And for my sophisticated church people, y'all just kind of put your religion to the side for a minute. Don't be all uptight. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about right now. All these albums y'all already heard, so don't go there with me. But Doggy Style and All Eyes on Me, that was my teenage life. And to know that you were a part of that and provided that foundation with the guitar riffs and the bass. And that's that funk, man. How did funk come about? How did that become a thing? Talk to me about that.
And like you said before, it was always here, Mahalia Jackson, the Muddy Waters and the Lightning Hopkins, the blues singers, basic instrumentation. It's really funky to be able to play a whole song with the guitar by yourself.
Yeah.
That's pretty funky.
Yeah.
It's going to be a funky song. And that's how it basically started, like minimal. And it became, slicker and slicker and slicker. Mm-hmm. So by the time we got to Motown era, everything was slick. They were the slickest, funkiest people in the world. They had funk with the bass and drum, but they also had violins and stuff. So they went all the way pop. We emphasized the funk, and James Brown did it too. James just didn't say it as much as we did, but he did it like that.
Right.
He'd get one groove, and that was it. He'd lay in that groove till you understood what he was talking about. And that's like the epitome of funk.
Yeah.
Funk, you can take funk like a mix, put it in other stuff, and makes the other stuff good. That's why it works so good with hip-hop, because funk is the DNA. You take the part that move people and make them want to do that basic,
for sure,
what's say, biological rhythm. From the heartbeat on.
Yeah.
And it manipulates all your bodies, so all the different motion that people come up with dancing. It starts with a basic funky beat. A lot of it is African.
Yes.
You see a lot of the dancing now, like on TikTok.
Yeah.
Most of those things, you see the root of that. Look at some of those African pictures they got of kids dancing to those songs.
Wow.
You'll see that. That's the funk. That's where that funk emanates really strong.
Yeah.
And it's all on the one. Like James Brown, the gospel the same way. It's that one. What you get people on that beat.
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna hate to say it, but it makes you want to shake your butt.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the soundtrack for so many generations. Whether it's, Atomic Dog, of course, that is the ultimate party starter. The party is not over. And shouts out to you. I know you were just inducted into Omega Psi Phi last year. You and my dad are frat brothers. Yeah, all that. I got it. And I mean, it's fitting because you provide the soundtrack for them guys. So, you know, your music has been a soundtrack for many generations. How do you come up with, because now I'm thinking spaceships, I'm thinking all of the imagery that you put out over the years. Where'd that come from, man?
You know, man, I tell you, I've thought of it like right from the beginning as a kid. I watched Davy Crockett. Okay, it was Disney's one of their first phenomenal type with Blitz, where every kids had their backpacks with Davy Crockett on.
Yeah.
And I always thought of stuff like, if I make a hit record or something, I want it to be a phenomenon. You know, that's why I was drawn to Motown when they were like it, because they were a phenomenon. In the same way I worked at the hula hoop place right there in Newark. It was a phenomenon. So once we got a hit record, I knew I didn't want to just be a group singing. You had to be like a character in order for it to last, like cartoons or phenomenon. Right. You got to make it into something else. So I wanted to make a funk opera.
A funk opera.
When I saw the Beatles show up with Sgt. Pepper, the Who had their Big Tommy.
Yeah.
They had a rock opera. I wanted a funk opera. I wanted to be like Hair with the band. So when we did Mothership, first it was Chocolate City.
Okay.
And I realized that the concept worked, you know, putting black people in places you didn't perceive them to be would work. All of a sudden, Black and Proud was the thing. So I had to follow that. Where else you don't see us at was in outer space. You know, and you saw Star Trek, but Aurora was the only one there.
Right.
Okay. So I had to put a dude on this spaceship like a Cadillac leaning, talking about we got the funk.
Yeah.
The galaxy ready to deliver some funk to the planet.
And you did that, and then later on you see Outkast, you see Dre and Big Boy doing the whole Aquemini, Stankonia thing, and now they own spaceships and stuff. Yeah.
But I was working with them when they were doing it. But, by that time I was in Atlanta with Dallas Austin in the organized noise. They were called Goody Mob, Outkast,
classic.
Dungeon Family.
Yeah.
I was like the babysitter for like kindergarten. It was like TLC.
Yeah.
ABC, all of them was there at Dark Studios. So I was like telling them stories. Any of them, I'll tell you right now, Eric Sermon, they Busta Rhymes, they all used to be around there like kindergarten, and I used to be reading.
I can imagine.
Really crazy book.
I can imagine.
Political. I was out there on one day.
Yeah.
On the political tip.
Yeah.
Same thing I did with Prince. But them Outkast, they were P-Funk.
I was the director of Morris Brown's Gospel Choir when I was in Atlanta, and somebody knew somebody, and so Dre came to one of our rehearsals. Andre 3000 came to one of our rehearsals, and he actually drafted us, the choir, to sing the hook on Bombs Over Baghdad. And so that hook is Morris Brown's Gospel Choir singing that, and that whole power music electric. That's Morris Brown's Gospel Choir. We went in studio with him, and he put us on to do that. That was mind blowing. And every time I hear that song, I have to tell JJ, like, yo, that's your daddy right there. In the studio with Outkast.
But I was down there doing that every time.
The funk was there. The funk was there.
Yeah.
So Mr. Clinton, you have blessed so many, generations. And in the midst of life, because you've been a public figure over 50 years, how did you navigate the struggles? I see in the background there your book, and I was honored to be one of the first people to receive your book and had a chance to read it. You are very candid. You're very open and honest about your story. How did you navigate some of them struggles? Because let's be honest, you wrote some of your best music when you were out of this world.
I feel blessed, lucky, or whatever you feel, because something was guiding me through all of that. Even though, like you say in the book, I was talking about the part with the counterfeit money being in the Bible.
Yeah.
I felt so lucky when I look back how that could have turned my life if we hadn't been blessed with helping the younger musicians become musicians. Because that's what the lieutenant said. You know, because you're helping with these kids with these instruments and have them in there rehearsing music.
Yeah.
We're gonna look the other way with this, whatever you think you're doing with this funny money.
Right.
And that was enough. All I needed was him saying he knew about it, and I felt like I was looking from then. I got out of that. I never looked in that direction again.
Yeah.
I appreciated that, and I think that kept me from a lot of other things I might could have got into, later. But during the 60s, when we was doing the psychedelic era, I really feel blessed, because I was running into a lot of just information and knowledge from the kids, because we both was hanging with college kids, hippies and everybody. So you got a lot of information from that, and I appreciate it more than they did because I was older than them, but I was learning it late, and at the same time I was getting hit records, so I was feeling blessed, and I think I took the hippie thing way out there to this point. I feel loved that I did that.
Man.
I don't think that the drugs helped me, but I shouldn't be here.
Yeah, by the grace of God, man. When I read what you wrote about it and how like you said, you were high, you were, but it took you to this place, and that's always the story, right? Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And so many people lost their lives, behind one of those three or all of them at some point or another. But you've survived, and God brought you through.
Like you said, Atomic Dog. I embarrassed myself for a minute. I'm so glad that record was a hit because I hate looking like a fool. You know what I'm saying? And at that particular day, the band never saw me like uncool. I was so tweaking that I thought they was recording without me. Now I know that's a paranoia thing, but I couldn't stop myself. I'd go in there and rush in there, and it was the ultimate track on the tape backwards, and they didn't tell me, so they let me almost make a fool of myself and played it backwards, and I started singing to it while it was backwards.
Oh, man.
Nobody tell me. But then when it started working and started sounding all right, they started smiling and said, okay.
We got something here.
And it's working.
Yeah.
Then, and when I saw what they did with what I put on there, I was just glad to get out of the situation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But when I heard it back, why must I feel like that? Why must I? It started making sense.
Yeah.
And they started putting the harmonies around it without me doing it over again. Because I was ready to go back and do it what I consider right.
So that was one take?
That was right. That was right the way I...
That was one take, George?
That was one take, yeah.
Wow.
It took me a long time to try to figure out what I did.
Wow.
When you have to try to pantomime with it?
Yeah, yeah.
I could never keep up with it.
Yeah.
Because it was, you listen off the top. We just formed all the harmony around my voice, which made that sound like I was intentional.
So that moment in music history was an organic, unorchestrated moment that just came together in one take.
Oh, for my part, yeah. Not the same thing. The same way with One Nation. One Nation, it was just a beautiful track. We got new equipment, and everybody actually played it together without overdubbing. That's a weird. And I just added, the One Nation thing all around, all the different variations of, and then I had to go back and put the harmonies around that, and that became a style after a while. There's no verses or chorus. I'm just going different variations of the melody.
Right, right.
And the lines, I'm staggering them slow, fast, halftime, just Dionne Warwick type thing.
Amazing.
And it's just the track was just so
they're out of Jersey too. Dionne, Whitney, and Sissy, all of them are out of Jersey too.
I used to play baseball with Dionne. We were at the Oval Park in East Orange. I lived on Sussex Avenue. Her father had a store on Steuben Street right next door to our house.
Wow.
Steuben and Sussex Avenue.
Wow. That's Black history. We're talking to Black history right now.
Oh yeah, they were the drinking singers then.
Wow. Mm. So you have influenced so many generations, and you kind of casually mentioned TikTok just a few minutes ago, and that shows you're in tune with what's going on now. You are very active on social media. Your Instagram page is always lit. You the best follow that I have. Just watching all the content that you put out there, and of course, your daughter puts out great music as well. Shouts out to Scotty Clinton as well. Y'all go follow her. But how have you carried over all of these generations? And now, I mean, you've done work with Kodak, you've done work with Kendrick Lamar. You're staying in tune with the culture. How have you tied into this new generation of music?
I find out the music that get on my nerve most, and that's most likely the next new music.
Because I'll be honest with you, I can't feel all of that stuff.
When you get my age, you can tell by the music that gets on your nerve what the new thing is because you pay attention to it. Wow. And when I find that happen, I get my grandkids. They pretty much take me on TikTok. They show me, oh, you on TikTok? They show me other people doing my song on TikTok. Yeah. So and once you get into it, then you realize, oh, this is the new communication. This is the new AM, FM radio station. This is the new video that you have to make. YouTube, that's the new communication. Once you get hip to what get on your nerve and let it get on your nerve, get on past that.
Yeah, bro.
Then you're in the game again.
Well, a lot of it gets on my nerves. I'll be honest. I get a little ticked about the lack of instrumentation.
That part of it. But once I learned that, then I learned how to go back and put the instrumentation in it and still keep that element there.
Okay.
I have to get used to it first because right now it's an 808 world and no counter rhythm except for in church. Like I said,
that's what I'm trying to tell you.
You go to these church bands, they be playing all of the fresh melodies, fresh rhythms, and you can actually get away with that in pop music. They just got to merge together again like they did in the 60s and 70s. Church and R&B always merge back and forth. Yeah. And once they figure out, this time R&B got the bar from the church. Used to be the other way around. Like we coming up, we had a lot of flashlight. I heard flashlight in church a lot.
Oh yeah. Your song has gotten remixed in a whole lot of church services because that thing is just so funky. I mean, you can't get around it, man. It's so funky. Who are you looking at?
You can't get around it.
That's it. So low you can't get under it. Who are you looking at these days in terms of the new artists? I know who's in my son's rotation in terms of who he listened to, but like, who are some of the young cats now that you are, mentoring or that you're feeding off of nowadays?
I mean, I can't keep up with the names as fast because everybody's a little somebody.
Yeah, because you just did something with Kendrick Lamar not long ago.
But Kendrick, to me, he's like Snoop now. He's old school too now.
Wow. See, I just figured out who he was last year, so I'm
no. He is there. He's there so thoroughly that he's not even new no more. He's one of the old goats now. But I did stuff with him. His whole crew, that whole LA, Compton crew of musicians. Most of them are musicians. Mm-hmm. They have a lot of bands, like I just did a thing with a guy, Chris Daves. Uh-huh. He's a drummer he's from Houston, but he's in church most of the time, but he played with all of the slick bands. Uh-huh. Oh man, they are so slick. But Kendrick told me about, the musicians, how they were into P-Funk out there when I went out to see, what is that, Flying Lotus?
Yes.
They're one of them. But it's, like I said, it moves so fast, you got a whole bunch of new ones there. Atlanta, the track stuff, I really like. I'm just not being able to really pick out and appreciate Amigo stuff. I pretty much know it now. I know the separate voices, like the Temptation voices. I'm just not figuring out, there is a method to that.
Yeah, if you can stand it long enough to catch what the method is.
Yeah, once you figure out, okay, then I see what people are reacting to, and once you get that, okay, that's what it is. That's the new field that they.
Okay.
And it's intentional. At first, it sounds like it's accidental. No, they do that on purpose. Yeah. And you're like, and like Cardi B is almost like Donna Ross with her thing.
Right.
But like Donna Summers were,
yeah,
she did disco. Disco was supposed to be not that hip at first, but Donna Summers' version of it was like a rock star.
She killed it.
She did it, and that's the way Cardi B is doing with her method of, hip hop and the way they do it. The Atlanta style. She do it to that. You think, okay, she gonna get 1 or 2 hits. No, but that's a thing.
Yeah.
She got that mapped out, and pretty much everything she do is gonna sound like pretty much like in that vein. And she creative with knowing what's supposed to get on your nerves.
Yeah. And what I do,
Beyonce is like so bad, she's like Michael Jackson or Prince. She can do all of them.
Absolutely.
At will. I watched her from the Destiny Child. They were my favorite group. I always thought of them as a Motown.
And she's from Houston as well. Shouts out to Houston, Texas, man. They produce some legends.
That's what I'm saying. That's that Texas. She got that thing mapped. And each generation find their own, very slick ones in it.
Yeah. Now, what I do appreciate about the younger generation is that they seem to have mastered the business aspect of it. They're not signing these 360 deals. They're not giving record companies all their money, but they've learned how to stream. They learn how to market themselves. And I think they learned that from the struggles of your generation of musicians who got, quite frankly, screwed over by, record companies or what have you. And you talk a lot about that as well in your story. So what about the business of music, the industry?
That's the part of it I'm hoping to help kids understand. That no matter how good you do and how hard you work for the music, you got to have that business thing. And they got it pretty good. They're getting it right from the early stage because they do it on their laptops and things. They can actually sign up for all these things. Now, it wasn't that easy with us. We had to get lawyers and things who manipulated and got a piece of this. And kids have the opportunity to actually do it themselves and make that business part of it. Make that part of the song. Make that part of the music. Learning the business, because right now we're on the mission of helping older musicians get their copyrights back.
Yeah,
I'm working along with Ben Crump. He's, we putting out a thing how to get your rights back for your heirs. That's my main mission right now, is to get all my stuff back for my heirs, all my family, and all the people that work with me.
So you're in that fight right now to get all those masters, all of those, originals, and all your credits for your samples that folks have used out here.
And the people that work with me, I'm going to make sure they get their part of it. As far as I'm concerned, I'm giving them their parts of it back. If they're writers, let them recapture their copyright so people understand. And Ben and myself, we're going to have a date once a year notifying people whose copyright is due that year.
That's awesome.
Because, that's going to be a part of our movement.
That's awesome. And that's legacy right there. That's that leadership where you're seeing, what happened to you, and now you're pouring into the next generation saying, all right, I done been through this struggle, so y'all shouldn't have to go through that same struggle as well.
You have to do it. Right.
So you've got so many other interests, that are outside of music and they feed into the music. You got your art. A lot of people don't know you're a very gifted painter. You've got some artwork there at the house.
GeorgeClintonArt.org.
Okay.
Check it out.
GeorgeClintonArt.org.
Especially during this pandemic period. I've been locked in there, got over 200 and some pieces to be there just for this period.
Yeah. And, wow. Where you get your inspiration from?
Oh,
because your art is out there, bro. Like, it looks like one of your album covers. Like, your art is so abstract, but
but I think, like I said, inspiration right now has been that I found something to do when most people are locked down right now. I was so happy to have something to do that I was able to release it, and that I actually started feeling like I used to feel getting up, going to the studio to make a record. I can wait to get up to go out there and dabble on it. And when people start appreciating it, like I did with the birdhouses, I did on the what's the name of Anderson Cooper.
Yeah,
he saw it on, and from then on, I've been having the commission to do birdhouses and paintings and stuff.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
You know, I'm just happy to be able to have something to do right now, and knowing that I got a lot of good music that myself and the kids we did just prior to this pandemic starting. We had some music that we was getting ready to throw out there.
Yeah.
That I got to. It's gonna be out pretty soon.
Now, who are the Gangsters of Love? Who are they? Talk to me about that.
Oh wow, Gangsters of Love. Oh my God, that was okay. You had Sly Stone. You had RZA. RZA. You had Shabba
Ranks?
No, not Shabba Ranks. From System of a Down.
Oh, okay.
Bass player, Shabba. Yeah. El DeBarge.
Oh my God. That's
Tim Burrell.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's
a super group.
That was a crew and a half. I had to go. I got some of my doo-wop vibes off on that. You know, I know I had enough gangsters. I can get away with anything.
Yo, that was classic. You know, the Mathematics of Love and that whole vibe. Yeah. That's a super group, man.
Yeah. Matter of fact, we did a Dave Letterman show with RZA. He did this show. We did a song of Prince in hours. We mixed it together, and him and my granddaughter did the rap on it.
That's amazing.
Check that out.
That's amazing.
Foley, yeah, that was a Gangsters of Love was a deep crew.
Love it. That kind of compilation. And you say you got new music.
My son Tracy, he's also one of them. Yeah.
Okay. You said that you got some new music that's on the way, and I'm wondering, sir, we've talked about it. Is this a space right here on the Man Cave Monday that I can announce to the world that we are going to, you and I, collaborate on this gospel album finally? Can I say that publicly?
Yeah, you can say it because we're going to do it. I saw Snoop can do it and get away with it.
Yeah, if Snoop can do it, we might need to get him on one of the tracks, now that I think about it.
Oh, yeah, we could do that. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to get you back to your gospel roots, man, and just have you unleash on us. We're going to have the organs and the keyboards and the drums, the guitar, the bass, man, the saxophone. It's going to be funky. I can't wait.
Okay, baby. I mean, you got to guide this too. I'm going to follow you on that.
Y'all heard it here first.
You know what? I be liking the arrangements out here. They're doing this sequester time
on Sunday mornings. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they get off maybe back there.
Shouts out to them.
I'll be ready to sample some of those parts.
Hey, come on with it. Shouts out to the Sunday morning band. Clyde, Rodane, and Sam, and Tim, and Gerald on the drums, and JoJo on the bass as well. Those guys are killing over there.
And the choir too.
Thank you. The pandemic praise team is what we call them. I'm so excited, y'all. I'm talking to Mr. George Clinton, the funk doctor, the historic figure, that he is right here on Man Cave Monday. Y'all know y'all can follow him on all social medias. He's on Instagram. He's on Facebook. He's all over the place. GeorgeClinton.com. There it is. Y'all can follow him everywhere. Of course, I grew up, like I said, in the 80s and 90s, and so I used to play Sega Genesis. And one of the favorite games I used to play was NBA Jam. And one of my favorite hidden characters to download was George Clinton. And I had you dunking from the free throw line. I had you twirling in the air. He's on fire. Like that's my whole childhood. How did that come about? And I know we getting long on time.
You know what?
How'd that come about?
Back then we were so hot and so out of our mind. We didn't even know they had those things. We didn't even know that we were on those things. They were so that they weren't even telling us at that time.
They just had your likeness and didn't tell you.
And what deep, I was who was it? Galaga, Galaxia. I was a freak on those machines, but I didn't get to the NBA.
So the NBA and Sega Corporation owe you some checks then, because I showed.
Yeah, trust me.
I played that game every day and downloaded it. Wow. Yeah. So you got merchandise, you got exclusive, customized merchandise that's out there. I saw a couple of months ago, probably a year ago now, you did something with Nike, I believe it is. You got some shoes or something, a special.
Oh, we got new shoes, new sneakers out there now with Flubog.
Okay.
Flubog, that's the new one that's coming out right now. But my wife, she's been on the wild with that. She got stuff with Sakai.
Yeah.
She's the one to do the stuff with Nike and all those. But she did the One Nation jacket.
Yeah.
And the shirts and all that shit. My wife got a whole line of stuff, the P-Funk gear that's out there. That's actually her and my daughter and all. That's working pretty good.
So folks can get the merch from GeorgeClinton.com as well?
Yeah, GeorgeClinton.com.
That's what's up.
You got the George Clinton YouTube channel. You got all the new live shows on there. I mean, I'm actually binging myself every now and then. We've been filming this stuff for like 40 years. And I'm actually slowing down enough to actually look at some of them now.
So my wife asked me last night, because we were talking about the interview and how excited I was. And of course, we know all the biopics that are out there. Jamie Foxx did Ray. You had Chadwick Boseman did an awesome James Brown. Who do you see doing George Clinton in a biopic?
I don't know. Them dudes, I like those dudes from Atlanta. The Childish Gambino's crew. That whole crew. That on the what is it? ATL.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I like their style of. I think we'll be able to get to earlier years. I don't know who could do it. Later on.
Yeah.
Later on in life.
That would be an awesome pick. I mean, I know it's gonna get done.
Because I don't think a lot of people actually knew us. As there not many films of us when we were doing the first Funkadelic. Mama Was a Funkadelic. That's probably the most interesting part of our career that people would like to see visually. When Absolutely. We really were pretty much out there, with the diapers and the sheets and things during that time. And the music was psychedelic and gospel for real.
Wow.
That part of it was probably visually, but I don't know too many camera shots of any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I was talking to Grady, one of the guys that was in the group back then, and we was talking about, we need to talk about that just to actually get that picture back in our minds.
Yeah.
We was out of our mind.
Yeah, somebody's got to do that biopic. Like, somebody needs to produce and direct that.
But it needs to be one of those ones that's on TV that takes 2 or 3 days. 2 or 3, because it's actually a long period of time. During the Motown era was a very interesting era. And before that, it was the barbershop in like I say. Because
they did a segment on you, American Soul on BET.
Yeah, I saw
the
that.
whole Don.
That was all right.
Yeah, that was okay. But that was just a snippet, of.
That was just a snippet.
Yeah.
Snippet in time.
They need to do a whole series like that, just on the Parliament and the Funkadelic.
We was painting that picture knowing that somebody was going to want to see it later on. We did a lot of stuff intentional. I mean, a lot of the stuff was theatrics. We knew it. A lot of we used the drugs as an excuse to be crazier.
Yeah.
But we was really we really knew what we were doing. We were from the barbershop. We made people cool. We did their hair. We knew what cool was about.
Know what cool is about.
But we was going anti-cool with the sheets and diapers and things. So we knew we was being foolish.
Yeah, well, that's why I didn't know who you were when you joined the church, because I was looking for the red and the yellow and the green hair and, out of space. I was looking for that guy. But this guy here is a lot more tame.
I had to hurry up and cut that off before somebody tell me, take that stuff out your head, because that's what I would have told them.
Yeah.
If I was in Jersey and somebody came with that stuff in their head.
Oh, man.
We'd have been like, take that stuff out your head,
Wow.
So I played it as long as I could.
Yeah.
And got out just in time.
Got out just in time. And from the brick city, Newark, New Jersey, to now, settled in Tallahassee, but still worldwide, and just have settled into such a groove, man. Even now, at this stage of your life, you are such an inspiration to all of us. And I'm honored to be your pastor and your friend, and for you to take the time to do this, it means so much to me. Is there anything that you want to say? We try to use this platform to inspire and to inform. Is there any words of wisdom that you just want to leave us with before we close out?
Man, I'm just saying, hey, do the best you can, then funk it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna leave it at that, because that's all we need to hear right now. This is Man Cave Monday. This is Mr. George Clinton. He is the Funk's Doctor. He is our friend and brother. Thank y'all for tuning in. Please make sure you share this experience with somebody. Let somebody know Man Cave Monday was live. Thank you, sir, for doing this. Much love to you.
Thanks, bro. Take care, man.
Yes, sir. Take care.
Ruth.